Good morning. Today's session is going to be about putting the eyes in a decoy, something I had mentioned to you is a very critical part of the decoy coming to life. What I do is I use regular wood putty, Elmer's wood putty, which you can see here, and I use an actual popsicle stick and I fill the hole, which is drilled a little bigger than the eye I'm going to use, and I fill that with putty. You fill the eye up with putty. Okay, it's just easy. The popsicle stick helps to do this because it has that little bit of a curve to it. So you can kind of work that putty in there. And then of course you can always, smooth it out with your finger like that. Because then you don't have to worry about overshooting it because you can always clean it up. I usually use a piece of paper towel to do that. But you want to get that putty into the eye sockets like you can see there. See, and you can see there's sort of a channel in there that eye socket is in. Then you take your eyes. Now in this case, it's going to be two brown eyes. What I generally do is when I buy my eyes, I buy clear eyes. And the reason for that is I can paint them any color I want. I've made up a little fixture that's got holes in it where I stick them in there like that. One or two at a time, or I cut the stems off. And it allows me to, with a dropper, to go into my paint and just drop the brown in there because you just want to sort of get that center color. But it allows me to have any color I need. And then when you put them in, I usually just put them right in straight. I cut them right off at the very bottom like you see here. Some people will take it and they'll put a little stem on there like that, figuring as it goes in, it kind of hooks into the glue and kind of helps it not to come out. Personally, I've never had one come out, so I personally don't worry about it too much. Now you simply take your eye, position it over the hole, and you push it in. Push it in with your finger, both sides. What you want to do is when you want to be able to look down from the top of the bird and just about see the eye. You don't necessarily need to see a lot of it, but you do want to see it. It's always kind of hard to do it, to get it just right. And that's where that little tool I mentioned to you comes in, where I kind of put it in like that to see if I got them at the right angle to the bill. And you can see that it's touching on the eyes right there. At that point, I kind of wet my fingers a little bit, keep rubbing this stuff in, like that. And keep pressing my fingers in that same direction that I want that eye. I want it facing in and down a little bit. This one seems to be out a little more than the other one, so I have to press it in a little more. If I think there's too much of that one exposed, I can take additional putty and build up the area around it, so I don't have it sticking out as much as it, so it looks the same on both sides. And again, a little water on the finger. And there you have the eye basically in, somewhat clean. You gotta let that set a little while. And you can see by looking at it that it's kind of like looking at you. I always like to double check it here. Push it in a little more in the front here. Put a little more putty on there. It's a process that, you don't speed up too much. And I use a little spray, get it damp, wet it up a little bit. Kind of work the putty around the eye. There you kind of roughly have the idea of what you want to do with that eye. And then what you do is you take a little bit of a brush.
Tell me about the tool.
This tool is that little thing I made out of popsicle sticks. That's what I say. First thing you do if you're going to put eyes in is go buy some popsicles, get the sticks, put a screw through them, and you got a nice little guide there as to how to get your angle on the eye to make it work right every time. And then I usually just dampen a cloth wiper. Use a lot of paper towels when you do this work. I just kind of clean around that eye a little bit. Meanwhile, it's setting up a little bit. The next step is you take a little bit of a brush, one of your finer pointed brushes. You know, I gotta find one in here for you. Here is one. Leave just a little bit of hair on there. And then just work it around that perimeter inside, just to clean it out. You want it to look almost oval. See how I'm making that look a little oval in there? Where the eye is like a little bit of an angle up in the front here. See, it's kind of like just working it around, cleaning it up a little bit as you go. This one here, we gotta bring it in a little bit. See how you got like a little bit of an angle in the front there? Okay, and there's the one eye on one side, and there's the eye on the other side. And of course you take your time trying to make sure they look about the same size. That's not always the easy part. And again, keep spraying. Try to keep it clean. And that's basically getting the first steps of the eye into position and working. And of course, after the thing sets up, you could always clean it off with, you know, another water spray, or a lot of people will take a putty knife or something, or an actual X-Acto knife, and just kind of edge that edge. You want to get that little bit of edge going around there, like you see me doing here. See? And that's it. You know, it looks a little rough and spot, you don't have to worry about it, because when that putty dries, you can always smooth that down with sandpaper. And there you have it. Putting eyes in. Real simple.